the zone. I wanna be one of the greatest that ever made it, one of the best that did it, coming with it. Understand this is all I think about, all I ever wanna do, all I ever work for. So ain't no giving up, and us to the limit, just to win it is a must. Now you see what it takes to be on top, don't stop. Now you see what it takes to be on top, don't stop.
Bryant for the win. He is a remarkable talent. I mean, he got into one of those zones, and I've said it many times. It's all right for regular players to get in a zone, but when you're the best player and you get in a zone, that shouldn't be fair. And it wasn't fair.
Access, watch the progress, can't be done, man, I'm the champion.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Worldwide Laker Talk. Shout out to Worldwide Laker Gang for life. We are in the building. We are in the house, and the house is definitely packed. If y'all saw, we took the Staples Centers after the Game 6 win. Yeah, we all know everybody was a little disappointed at the way Game 5 ended in the Mamba jerseys. Game 5 ended down by 3. A couple of bonehead plays took us out. But, hey, man, I think all that has been erased with a win in Game 6. Quincy, tell me how you feel.
Man, I feel good. It's 10 years. It seems like we win. I think they said we have won at the beginning of every decade. We won in 2000, won in 2010, 2020. You know, here we go, another run.
And I do feel like this is going to be another run. I don't feel like this is going to be a one-off. I feel like we might have a chance to run it back and improve the roster a little bit, but we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. Before we get to all the technicals, before we get to ins and outs of the games, let's just get to the celebration, man, and giving props to all of our Lakers. I'm talking about from top to bottom, every single person on the roster. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read it, but I saw a tweet from what's his name? Gil. I'm sorry, it's escaping my name. No Chill Gil talking about Gilbert Arenas talking about Dwight Howard and what it would take for Dwight Howard to be a champion. And it was very telling of not only the sacrifices that Dwight was willing to make, but the sacrifices that this whole team was willing to make sure that they was on the same page and doing whatever they had to do, because you had a whole series where Dwight and JaVale didn't get to play at all. Didn't really hear no complaints from them, and they had to come right back in and be those guys in the next series in Denver. And then after that, you had up and down against the Miami Heat.
Yeah. And this let me give it a background. So what Gilbert Arenas was talking about, I guess when Dwight is, wanted to join the Lakers, they had a conversation, and he told him it's going to be about how much you willing to sacrifice, because it's not going to be about ability, because Dwight is still, I believe Dwight is still capable of getting a double-double.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not going to be ability. It's going to be, are you willing to come off the bench? Are you willing to not play some games? Are you willing to just be a specialist, a defensive specialist some nights? And he said Dwight had called him right before Game 6 and was like, I'm not going to play this game. And so Gilbert Arenas asked him, well, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
And so he told him, like, Dwight told him, I didn't come this far to fail now. And Dwight became the cheerleader. But I think something that really stood out, that Gilbert Arenas told him, even when you're not playing, they still gonna need you to be you.
Yep.
And that was key, because that's what Dwight was. And let me tell you, he was in that Denver series, he was a difference maker, because the ability of us to play Jokic straight up and not double team him, where he could capitalize on his passing, make all the difference in the world. And it definitely affected him. So Dwight definitely contribute throughout the season, but he came up huge in that Denver, and Miami was a little smaller for him, so we make the adjustment, but he played his role, and here we are.
And he's a champ.
He's a champ.
And let's talk about this, man, because me and you talked about this at the beginning of the season. And I don't know if we talked about it publicly, but I know we talked about it at the beginning of the season, talked about how if Dwight Howard was able to get to a championship this year, it would complete the best redemption story we've ever seen from a Laker player in LA, from a Laker who was somebody who was a player who was hated to come back and come full circle and win the chip.
And that's huge because, before that, it was probably maybe Ron Artest. But Ron Artest wasn't never like really hated by the Lakers. Like,
right.
Laker fans 3 years ago that, look, we're going to have Dwight Howard. You're going to love him. You're going to be cheering him on. They probably would have swung on you. So he's definitely the best redemption story in Laker history. And I'm glad because with such a great career, a Hall of Fame career, and yes, he is a Hall of Famer. I love to see careers end the way that they should. And I think Dwight is going to end as a fan favorite. Is going to be beloved, and I think that really means something to him. So I'm glad to see the gratification that he's receiving.
I just like to say I called it way early. I don't know if you remember Quincy when Dwight first started getting on TV as a commentator, apologizing to the fans of LA and talking about how he wished things could have been different. I said, "Hey, I think Dwight's trying to make his way back to LA," and everybody was like, "Hell no way he's come back to LA." I said, "Nah, man, I see it. I think he's trying to figure out how to make his way back to LA, and he did it." And like you said, man,
I mean, if you even think about it, this is a place you could redeem. Look, people had given up on Rondo.
Yeah,
but folks had given up on Rondo.
me and you so the only people saying, "Y'all, we need Rondo in the playoffs," and they were like, "He trash," and we was watching in the regular season with the young boys.
And before that, Chicago was done with him. A couple of teams had New Orleans was through with him. A couple of teams had just kind of given up on him as well. I think he ended up in Sacramento briefly, something like that, maybe. But you come here, man. The Lakers redeem careers.
Yeah, this is a place. So, like you said, the difference between the Ron Artest situation and my man Dwight. Dwight was like a nemesis of Kobe, and you felt like until Kobe came and gave him his blessing, that was the beginning of the redemption process. Everybody like, okay, him and Kobe cool. Kobe said publicly, like, "Nah, we good now." That was the beginning.
He actually told Rob Pelinka, said Kobe actually told him after DeMarcus Cousins got hurt, like, you need to go get Dwight. And that's something we also need to touch on. Kobe blueprint is on his team. I don't think people really realize, but there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that he did to recruit LeBron and he pushed for AD to get here.
Think about it. He pushed for AD to get here. He was recruiting LeBron behind the scenes, and he told Pelinka to get Dwight. Those are three huge elements to this championship team right here. Yeah. And I'm sure he probably has some say-so with Jeanie in regards to certain role players and stuff because, he know how they are. But, just the makeup of the team this year.
We go back a little farther than that. It was Kobe that told her, "You got to fire your brother."
Yeah. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of the Exodus right there.
Yeah, like when she presented him with the idea, and these are Jenny's words, with the idea of Kobe, of LeBron. Kobe told her, "I know who you want, but he ain't coming here as it currently set up
with that bullshit in the front office.
You're gonna have to get rid of your brother if you want him to come
here." Yeah, and like I said. I love what we did with this team, with this roster, but we're going to get to that. But before we get to that, I want to take a brief moment to talk about the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler. Hats off to Jimmy Butler, because there ain't no way in hell they should have went 6 games with us.
Yeah, there's people discussing is Jimmy Butler better than Kawhi Leonard. I actually saw that debate. Yeah, I mean,
it's so funny how shit changes. It's so funny how
playoff changes narratives.
And I will say, Jimmy Butler took on a challenge. First of all, he put out the Greek Freak. He put out the Bucks. He put out, who did he put out next? After the Bucks, Boston. So he put out two teams that they weren't supposed to beat. Honestly, on paper, they weren't supposed to beat the Bucks with the MVP. They weren't supposed to beat Boston with Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Hayward. Like they had a plethora of people that was supposed to be. Because we all know that they say in the NBA, talent beats everything. When you got more talent, you got the superstar. That's what it comes down to in the playoffs. But then he got to the Lakers and he gave us hell. And I'm talking about nobody could really stop him. Like you couldn't stop him. Yeah. Like but a lot of that was, and I told somebody, I said a lot of that was just will and outworking. Like the two games they won, I feel like Jimmy Butler, not really nobody else. Jimmy Butler outworked us. Them two games, he was getting his hands all over balls. He was running for 50-50 balls. He was deflecting. He was getting steals. He was everywhere. Like Jimmy Buckets was everywhere. So I got to stop and commend that man for what I saw him do, because what he did throughout this whole playoff run was pretty incredible, man.
Yeah, and he plays within himself. He don't shoot a lot of threes. He kind of have an old school traditional game where he worked the mid range.
He got a sick mid range, bro. Because we talk about how nobody really got a mid range. He got a sick mid range game.
Yeah, and so, but when the Lakers decided to lock in on, that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. But no, and then Miami on the right track. They got a hero, Duncan Robinson. Bam is young. They got some key vets. I look, a lot of people think Giannis gonna come west to Golden State. I actually think he's gonna go to Miami.
That would be scary.
I actually think I think Giannis need a closer like Jimmy Butler. I think that's why it was such a huge mistake on the 76ers part to let go Jimmy Butler, because they was a Kawhi Leonard 3 bounces away from going to the finals.
Yeah. You run that back. You run that shit back.
You definitely run that back.
But I think what the problem was, they said Jimmy Butler was too hard on them divas. Like Jimmy Butler was too hard on Embiid and Simmons, and that's why they had to get rid of, because they said
it seemed like Embiid embraced him. He been grieving. He gets on every time Jimmy Butler have a good game. He on there praising him. Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think it was Ben Simmons that he was Embiid been upset about Jimmy Butler.
I'm sure he would, because that's what Embiid needed in the fourth quarter. Embiid and Jimmy in this playoffs, they would have fared much better. You know what I mean? Because as you see, Jimmy, his game is evolving, but not only that, he's figured out how to harness that dog and not be too wild. Like he's figured out, how to make the people around him better. And listen, man.
But I think what happened is he didn't find a culture to embrace the way he is. That's Pat Riley. Oh, you cussing out players that ain't working hard? A player can't go to Pat Riley and say, "Hey, Jimmy Butler cussed me out because I ain't working hard." That ain't. You're gonna get cussed out again.
Yeah, exactly.
So he found the culture that fits.
And that shout out to Dwayne Wade, because Dwayne Wade said he went to Pat Riley when he played with him in Chicago and was like, "You want to bring Miami back? Go get Jimmy. Yeah. You got to get this dude, because he's your kind of player. He's a blue collar player. He's a hard worker, and he wants to win. He's a winner." And that's exactly what he did. He went and got him. So like you said, it's great that he's in Miami, because that's the kind of culture, because they said Pat Riley and Spo, they still run a lot of that shit like the prime time Lakers, where they be running them shits into the ground. They got them dudes working hard. 5-hour practices, working hard. So he like, even though Miami is a glitz and glamour state, they a blue collar team. And you look at the way them guys play defensively, they play above their heads, man. Like watching them, like you said Miami may not be big, but they get their hands in there on a lot of balls. Miami gets there, they get a whole bunch of deflection. They rotate like crazy. So you're not going to get a bunch of wide open threes because their rotations are crazy. So you see, we made some adjustments in game 6 in order to get LeBron open, in order to get AD open. We had to run some double screens. We had to run some back screen action. We had to run a lot of cross cutting action.
Yeah.
Because those guys are so good with the rotations.
Yeah.
But we were able to get him out of that zone.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that's the blueprint of how this team is built. This team is built. We're gonna get you with LeBron and AD. If you try to take that away, our shooters got to shoot and make shots.
Yep.
And they don't have to shoot a high percentage. They just have to shoot a respectable percentage.
Right.
And,
right.
It makes all the difference in the world. That's why when they shoot like something like 33%, they're like 13-1 or something crazy like that. And that's not a good percentage. It's a respectable percentage, but that ain't great. That's just good enough to know that every now and then we're gonna make you pay.
Yep.
And so and it makes a difference. That's why, great shooting by Rondo this playoff, KCP, even Caruso was decent. Markieff Morris, his shot really came alive during this playoff. Kuz was streaky at times, but he had a pretty good game where he had like 19, 16 back-to-back game. And then there's Danny Green.
Let's talk about Danny Green, man.
Man, I don't. He shot 28% from three
for the finals.
Yeah, he was shooting. He was shooting like something like 30% in the playoffs total. But so
let me ask you, what do you think happened to Danny Green? What do you think it was mental, like what we saw happening with Danny Green?
Could be, but he been kind of streaky all season long though. I can only really think of a couple of games where I was like, that first game. See, what happened was that first game against the Clippers.
Yep, he opened up.
He teased us, and then he hit that dagger against. Well, not dagger, but he hit that game time 3 in Dallas. So it was like, okay, this how it's gonna be, and it was like. I can't really, other than them 2 games, I can't really think of a game where I'm like, well, Danny Green just did his thing. And the problem with Danny Green threes that's so frustrating for fans is that they're wide open.
Yeah, wide open.
Like KCP threes be a little bit more contested.
Yep.
But Danny Green threes be wide open. And it's like, okay, this what you get, $15 million a year for. To hit wide open threes. So
yeah, let's play a game real quick, Quincy. Let's play a game real quick.
All right.
I'm a name players, and everybody in the comments, y'all can play along too. I'm gonna name a player, and I want you to give me the first word that comes to mind when I say this player's name. All right.
All right.
Jared Dudley.
Leader.
Quinn Cook.
I'm trying to think of a word. I can't think of a word. I could just kind of describe. I think Quinn Cook is one of us on the Lakers.
Right. Right. And that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say true Laker. He's a true Laker.
Yeah. He's actually a Laker fan like us that turned out to be a Laker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can say Laker.
Yeah, true Laker. All right. Rajon Rondo.
Oh man. I got 2 words that popped up: leader and Hall of Fame.
My word for him is third best player in the finals.
Yeah,
third best player on the Lakers in the finals. All right, Kyle Kuzma.
Streaky.
Markieff Morris.
Junkyard Dog.
Dwight Howard.
Redemption.
Yeah. Goat Russo.
Man. Hard worker.
Danny Green.
Spur.
Don't even want to claim him. Don't. He said Spur.
Spur.
Kentavious Caldwell Pope.
I would say this about Danny Green because I started paying attention. His defense be solid though. although he be missing threes, which
defense was solid.
His defense, he made a lot of. You remember, he the one got that. I think he the one got that offensive rebound that eventually led to AD game winner. So yeah. he did some blue collar stuff.
Okay, so we'll give him that. He did play some good. KCP,
most improved.
Oh, good one. Because I know, and I said I owe KCP all the apologies because I know we've been giving him the blues for the last 2 seasons, trying to get rid of him.
Well, he got better.
He did.
Got better this year. So I mean, he improved.
He stepped up. He stepped up to be a good role player on the championship team. LeBron James.
Oh man, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Anthony Davis.
Freak.
For real. So you know, going through those descriptions of the team, man, and going through the makeup of this team, I feel like we had everything that we needed to win a championship. And I know a lot of people didn't think we would. So let's take our time to go through all the shit that we heard people saying of why the Lakers wouldn't win. Because I ain't forgot what Michelle Roberts said. I ain't forgot what Chris Broussard said. I ain't forgot what Rob Parker said. I ain't forgot what Skip Bayless said. I ain't forgot what people in Lakers Sports said. I ain't forgot what people in Take 5 said.
How about when you remember when they put up the ESPN chart of the odds to win the championship, the Lakers wasn't even on there?
Yes.
But from the ESPN writers?
I think they even had damn Philly above us. They had Philly on that chart, and we wasn't even on that chart.
Lakers wasn't even on the chart. So if you had went to Vegas and betted, you would have came up.
Yeah. And so this is the crazy thing to me. All right, so let's go through all the narratives. The first, Rob Pelinka don't know what he's doing. Strike that narrative down for me, Quincy, real quick.
Well, you know what? Kobe don't really associate with people who are not good at their job. So my whole take on Rob Pelinka was I trust Kobe. If Kobe said he's smart, if Kobe said he know what he's doing, Kobe was like he got a plan A through Z. So he's one of the smartest people I know. And this who dealt with Kobe's money. So it was interesting that folks saying he didn't know the salary cap, how it worked. I was like, he was an agent for 20 years.
Right.
And another player that vouched for him was Iguodala.
Yep.
He vouched for him. Chris Bosh vouched for him. So you had top players who was vouching for him, but my whole trust on Pelinka was I trust Kobe. And Kobe don't put his name behind everybody. He don't associate everybody.
He really don't. And you don't see Kobe putting his name on the line for a lot of people. You don't see that.
No. So the fact that he was willing to put himself out there for Pelinka, that's what I trusted. So
all right. Yeah. All right. So the next narrative, after we got Pelinka and he got everything straight and nobody believed he could, I'm gonna say the biggest couple ones for last. All right. The next narrative is our bench was too old and there was no way we was going to be able to keep up with all these young gunners in the West. And then we was going to lose to the Clippers in the West. And if we got past Clippers, we was going to lose to the Bucks in the East. Shoot that one down for me, Quincy.
Well, veterans win championships. Just go look at the average age of teams that have won championships in like the last 20 years. Young teams haven't been that successful in the playoffs. So when you're talking about veteran, I mean the Lakers gonna be old. We had Caruso, he's like 24, 25, Kuzma 24, 25. KCP is what, 28, 27?
Yep.
I'm trying to think who else. JaVale is what, 30? I mean, Dwight 34, but he got the body. He's in the condition of a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
So, I thought we had a good mix of experience in youth coming off our bench. And then when you got a player like Rondo, that's just his basketball IQ is just top notch off the chart.
Man, off the charts, man.
It just makes everything else better. And the playoffs showed.
Honestly, I don't feel like we win this chip without Rondo. I know that might sound crazy to some people, but I don't feel like we win this chip without Rondo because in certain situations, I've seen him calm us down. I've seen him take LeBron to another place in the game, and I seen him orchestrate on the court some things that I don't. And this is not a knock on LeBron, everybody, but I seen him orchestrate some things on the court that I think LeBron wouldn't orchestrate him in that manner because LeBron is used to creating for himself and then becoming a kicker. Like if I can't create for myself, I'm going to facilitate. Whereas Rondo was trying to facilitate off top, so he's putting everybody in different positions to score.
I think what Rondo did is that he let LeBron could be at ease at times because Rondo was in the game when he wasn't. So I think back to that Houston game where AD was out. Was it AD that was out? AD was out.
Yeah,
and Rondo pretty much orchestrated that whole victory in Houston. I mean, all the way down to telling Vogel to put Kuzma on Westbrook, which gave Kuzma the confidence in the regular season. Therefore, when he saw Westbrook in the playoffs, Kuzma acted like he could actually guard Westbrook. Which was helpful. He wasn't intimidated. He wasn't scared because he had already saw it in the regular season. So, and that's big because coming into the season, nobody thought Kuzma was a good. We're gonna put Kuzma on him and stop such and such. But it did something for Kuzma confidence, and all that was just completely orchestrated by Rondo. So some teams maybe had better names, but I thought we had a better team coming off the bench because we had players that actually fit and played that role. And we talked about Dwight Howard earlier. That we believe that Dwight Howard could still average a double-double easily in his league, but he accepted a role.
Yep.
And without him, I don't know. We probably still beat Denver, but it probably would have been a lot harder because Dwight allowed us to play Jokic.
And also this is something that
no other team in the league could do.
No, you're right, 100%. And this is something else that you brought up too, Quincy. You said the difference between us and those teams with just names. For example, the Clippers. On paper, it looks like the better roster. On paper, maybe Milwaukee Bucks look like the better roster. On paper, who else were they saying was above us at the time? Philly, Houston. They all look better. The thing that we have in Rondo and LeBron and Dudley, we have a lot of vocal leaders on this team. And I think that's something that attributed to this being a championship team too, because we had vocal leaders on the court, off the court, on the bench, and even on our coaching squad. And I think that's something that a lot of those other squads were missing. Do you agree?
Yeah, because you even had Rondo who wasn't afraid to hold AD and LeBron accountable. So when you have that in your locker room, that put the respect level at a whole different level. Plus, look how many players on the roster who actually been to championships. Quinn Cook, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Rondo, LeBron, even J.R. Smith. I mean, people who have a lot of playoff experience, and quite a few of them with the championship. Now, Danny Green. Not all of them won, but it made a huge difference. And then, don't want to overlook, people don't understand when I say Jared Dudley was the person that put in Kuzma's ear, like, look, you're not going to average 18 and 20 with this team because AD and LeBron take up too many shots. You're not going to consistently get 15, 16 shots a game. So you're going to get 16 shots a game. Some games you're going to get 6. So what you have to do in those games where you get 6 or 7, you got to find other ways to contribute on the floor. And that's when we start to see Kuzma becoming a better defender, a better rebounder. But that came from Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley was in in Kuzma ear. So, and like you said, and then you can't overlook Jason Kidd, the leadership of having somebody like Jason Kidd on a team that kind of played in this era. There's like a liaison between like eras to where like he's not too far attached from the game where he can't relate to current players. All that was key.
Yeah. And Phil Handy and look, Frank Vogel did a great job, man. Like I know people was talking about he was a placeholder for Jason Kidd, but I think Frank Vogel made his bones this season.
With bet on yourself, which Tyronn Lue wasn't willing to do. Look, you bet on yourself. Look, now, either the Lakers gonna pay Frank Vogel or somebody else will now.
Because he's now a championship coach. He's a coach with a championship.
Yeah. So either way, he betted on himself and he won. So he gonna get his money. Either he gonna get it from the Lakers or he gonna get it from somebody else.
How many years did they give him? How many years was Frank Vogel? 3-year contract. Yeah. So he good to go either way because he got 3 years. And like you said, after that, either he gonna get another extension from the Lakers or somebody else gonna pick him up. Because even if he just goes to the playoffs, if he get one championship and 2 more playoff runs with this Laker team, he's gonna be set. Because we know how they do coaches in this league. Once you get a championship and a couple playoff runs,
I mean, Doc Rivers still riding that one championship in Boston.
Yeah, and because people often say it's not a lot of championship coaches. It's only like 4 or 5 coaches with chips in the league right now.
Exactly. So Doc Rivers got that championship 2008 and was fired on Monday. Had a job on Wednesday.
Right, right. So let's talk about the two of the last 2. In my opinion, biggest narratives going into this season. One, LeBron James doesn't care about winning no more. He only came to LA because he wanted to make movies. It wasn't to play basketball. Shoot that shit down real quick, Quincy.
Well, the thing about LeBron is very conscious of NBA history and team history. He's very conscious of all that. And Jenny Buss kind of mentioned it yesterday. He said, like, when she met LeBron, he knew of the history of the team. There's no way. Now, I think LeBron tend to say stuff to limit that pressure off himself because he know how the media will respond. But I think internally he takes it, he feel it all.
Right.
And some players do. Oh, this is just like any other game. Nigga, it's game 7. It's not any.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like players do that. Players do that. Yeah. Kind of diffuse the pressure. So, no, it's just another game. You down 0-2, player. You can't go down 3. There's not enough. So I think LeBron does that at times, but he's very conscious of team history. And there's no way. I remember when Kobe wanted to have dinner with Magic, and Magic told him after they won the 2000, Magic told him, I have dinner with you once you get to 5. So after Kobe won that 5th ring, he didn't forget. He hit Magic. I was like, can we have dinner now? And that sets a tone. That sets a culture.
Yeah.
So I'm sure LeBron is aware of this culture. So there's no way he was going to come in behind Kobe and no, I don't care about championships. You do not want to be the Elgin Baylor
of the Lakers after Kobe.
Of the Lakers. I mean, and I say Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor is great, but Elgin Baylor is the only Laker superstar that never won a championship. Yeah. Every other Laker won the superstar except Elgin Baylor. And unfortunately, Elgin retired like 20 games 12 games into the 1972 season. Lakers won 33 in a row and won that championship the year he retired. So LeBron trust me, if I know that, LeBron knows that.
Yeah.
He was not about to come into, I give him props for accepting this challenge because being a Laker ain't for everybody. That's Dwight Howard. Coming in here trying to be the franchise player ain't for everybody. And now I think it makes sense why a lot of people like Paul George, a couple other players didn't really want this beef. because it's hard being a Laker. So for him to accept that challenge, he was definitely aware of the history, and I think that's why he wanted AD here by any means necessary, because he knew in order to really compete, he needed somebody else with him, another star, and he was definitely aware. I think if that wasn't the case, he wouldn't have tried so hard to get AD here.
Yeah, and speaking of getting AD here,
he just would have rolled with the kids and
had an excuse. He would have had an out, right? He would have had an out.
The kids they never really developed, and everybody was like, yeah, and that would happen. So the fact that he wanted AD here lets you know he knew he had to win here. So he look when you coming after, like, Kobe and Shaq came after Magic and Kareem. You coming after Kobe, so you got to win. You can't. Yeah. And it's just like when LeBron retires, people gonna look to AD like, okay, well, LeBron was the leader of those teams. Can you lead to a championship now?
Yep.
And that's kind of how it goes here. That's the culture. So no, I definitely knew once he accepted, LeBron is very history conscious of this team. So he definitely just didn't come here and not make it to the playoff. But he ain't gonna put all that pressure on himself either. It's kind of like what Kobe was doing. You remember in 2010, Kobe was downplaying the Celtics.
Yep.
Then after that game 7, he was like, look, I know I have to get more rings to Shaq. He just let it off. He just confessed everything. So
Yep. I knew we couldn't lose to the Celtics twice.
I couldn't lose to the Celtics twice. He was like, I've never been so nervous in the game. That's the first time you really let Kobe actually allowed himself to be vulnerable. Yeah. You got to play those games with you so you can stay locked in. Or you'd be like Danny Green. You thinking about,
shots.
I'm failing. And your shot not ever going in.
And like you said, this is a different spotlight, man. Like, we've seen players be amazing in other places. We've seen players be amazing in Charlotte, be amazing in Detroit. We've seen players be amazing on Portland and come to the Lakers and it seemed like they lose their shot. It seemed like they lose their confidence because it's a different kind of spotlight when you come to LA.
Yeah, and sometimes Laker fans, we get ridiculous. Like we get so spoiled that we don't appreciate people when they're here. Like I thought it was wrong how we did Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
Like at the end. Like, that dude came here after trade. We went to 3 finals in a row.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Went to the finals he was only with the team 3 months. Yeah. He came to the team in February, 4 months? We was in the finals in June.
Yep.
And people was talking about Pau Gasol like he was Eldon Campbell.
Yeah, for real.
So we tend to get a little spoiled, and the city get to chew people up. Like I said, Dwight Howard can contest for that. But you know what? If you succeed here, like Robert Horry said, I done played on about 5 different teams. People only know me as a Laker. Ron Artest said the same thing. He was like, man, I played for Indiana. Nope. Everybody knows me as a Laker. So once you're known as a Laker, and I remember Luke Walton said it best, the difference between being a Laker and than any other team, he said, Luke Walton said, I had more commercials than the best player on the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep. And that right there sums up what that spotlight is. All right. So the last biggest final knock that we've heard, the biggest narrative, we gave up too much for AD.
Man,
please shoot that shit down.
Where do we start? I mean, you got a championship. I mean, you make moves, you sign free agents, you trade people, you make draft picks. Whatever way you could do to get a player or build around a player, you do that for one goal. That's to win a championship. And if you ask me, I love BR. I was going to those dudes' summer league games thinking like, oh, this is going to be the team.
He followed them guys closely.
I follow. I love. I mean, I was telling people B.I. was better than Ben Simmons. Like I thought he was a more complete player.
Yeah, I remember.
And but in the end, when you ask me one word to describe AD, dude is a freak. He's a 6'11" guard.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got to do that 6'11", get the block, bring the ball down, cross over his man and shoot fadeaways, like he's a 6'11" guard. And then, to me, I think the more impressive thing, he could guard 5 positions. We didn't see him guard Giannis, Kawhi. What's the point guard name on Dallas? Can't think of his name right now.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah, Luka. Jimmy Butler, you name it. He could guard 1 through 5. He didn't added 3-point shooting to his arsenal, which is crazy because now we won in that play in Denver against Denver. The reason why Plumlee got lost because that's a play you normally run for like Ray Allen,
right? Right.
You don't run that for your 6'11" power forward center. That big men are not used to guarding.
Exactly.
So the fact that we could run that for our 6'11" power forward is insane. This dude is a freak. So I think B.I. going to be a good player. He's already an all-star. I think Lonzo would turn out okay. He might not turn out what a number 2 pick should be. I think Josh Hart is going to be a solid vet throughout, but I don't think none of those guys are going to be Anthony Davis. I think people forget Anthony Davis is only 27.
Exactly. So it's like you traded a young core for a young, amazing player.
So he's still. And Jerry West said the prime years for a player is from 28 to 32, and this is what we got at 26 and 27. What the hell are he going to be like at 29 and 30? So. I think it was worth it. If you look at Laker history, we pretty outside of George Mikan and Andrew Bynum, everybody else came through trades and free agency. Shaq was the only free agent. We traded for Wilt.
Yep.
We traded 5 young players for Kareem. I was explaining to somebody today. Lakers had 2 draft picks. They had the number 2 pick, the number 8 pick. We drafted a player for the Bucks. We had a young center and Elmore Smith, who was leading the league in block shots in his 4th year, along with Brian Winters, who the Lakers didn't want to give up for Kareem, because Brian Winters was supposed to be the new Jerry West.
Yep.
He played 1 year with the Lakers. He was all rookie. All of them for Kareem. Was it worth it? Hell yeah! 5 championships later.
Yeah,
definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Then Shaq, we came here and got Shaq. You remember we was excited with the Nick Van Axels, Eddie Jones, Cedric Sabalas, Elton Campbell. That Laker fans thought like that was about to be the lick. Cedric Sabalas ended up going to an All-Star game. Nick Van Axel ended up being an All-Star. Eddie Jones ended up being an All-Star. But that wasn't the team we won with in 2000 because Shaq didn't like half of their ass.
We don't talk about that.
But we don't talk about that. The only player he couldn't get traded was Kobe. Because Shaq wanted Jerry West to trade Kobe to Phoenix for Jason Kidd. Jerry West said he told Shaq, there's no way in hell we sending him to Phoenix. He would destroy us forever. So thank God for Jerry West for stopping Shaq at Kobe. But once again, the point is that was a young nucleus that we gave up to build around, Shaq, to build a team around Shaq. I mean, and then Powell was a little different because that was kind of highway robbery. But what we tend to forget, to get Kwame Brown, we gave up Caron Butler, who Kobe loved. Kobe was pissed off. You remember Kobe was heated when Caron Butler was let go. And so, but in the end, we got it back. I mean, what a lot of people don't really talk about that trade is that Memphis already had the beat on is that we had drafted a young center by the name of Marc Gasol.
Yep.
who was actually Memphis' target. See, everybody think, oh, well, Kwame Brown. Actually, it was Marc Gasol for Pau Gasol.
Mm-hmm.
That was the trade because they knew about Marc Gasol from Pau being in Memphis. So they knew about because Marc Gasol played high school basketball here. That's why his game is a little different than Pau. So they end up getting a defensive player of the year, an all-star center for Pau. So we gave up a young player for Pau Gasol. You could say 2 championships later, that paid off. You know, and so here we are, Anthony Davis. Like I love the young guys, like I said. But
I was a fan of all of those guys, but I don't think any of them are going to turn into Anthony Davis, and I don't think any of them will end up being better.
I mean, come on, let's really think about how many people in NBA history have turned out to be Anthony Davis. The dude is 6'11" with guard handles. That dude Kobe, man, he was killing Whiteside with shit Kobe was doing to Bruce Bowen.
Yeah. When I seen him do the through the legs, step back, boom, boom, fade away. I was like, that ain't no center shit right there. That ain't no.
Kevin Garnett wasn't doing that, and Kevin Garnett was a pretty skilled big man.
He was known as a big man when handling all that, and I ain't never seen KG do none of the shit like the crossover on the perimeter, bringing it up. Like, man, like
the dude, he's a matchup nightmare, and he's only 27. He's only what 2 years older than Kuzma.
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it.
And Kuzma is in his 3rd year, and AD is only 2 years older than Kuzma. So when you look at it, was the trade worth it? Hell yeah, because we got the chip. That's the reason why you make moves.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know some people like to say he only signed for 1 year. We traded our future away for 1 year. So I know it's highly unlikely, Quincy, but let's just talk worst case scenario. He came, gave us 1 chip, and he want to go back home to play in Chicago. Would you still feel like it's worth it? Now, me personally, I would, because we got a chip out of it. Yeah. We got a chip out. Even if you got a chip out of a 1 year rental, you take that.
Yeah, I would. I take that. I mean, it would be weird. Like, okay, so you lead the Lakers to go to a worse situation than you was in New Orleans. But okay. But I think you know, I think a lot would have to happen for AD to leave here. You know, he's part of Clutch Sports.
So why do you think he's playing the I gotta see what happens in free agent game? Why do you think
you still gotta play your leverage?
Yeah.
He could go, okay, well, I want 2 years max, and let's see what the salary cap. Because the NBA finna lose some money. Yeah, they're finna lose some money because of the revenue that they lost from no playoffs. She said he sold his house. Yeah, he sold his house in Thousand Oaks. Yeah, he had 2 houses. He had a house in Brentwood, and he had a house in Thousand Oaks. He sold a house in Thousand Oaks because he kept on being late to practices, and I don't know if you live in LA, but Thousand Oaks with traffic, that could get you about 2 hours away from El Segundo, the practice facility,
which is about 85% of the time.
Which is about 85, because the 101 freeway is a beast.
About 85% of the time, yeah.
The 101 freeway is a beast. So him being in Brentwood, which is closer to LeBron's house, puts him on a 405, which is a straight shot to El Segundo. Also, you could take some back routes like Lincoln Boulevard that runs through
Santa Monica.
That runs through Santa Monica and come up Marina Del Rey and make it to the practice facility. Also, you could get on the 10 freeway and go straight to Staples Center. So Brentwood kind of puts him more central to the airport, to the practice facility, to the Staples Center, because players they were saying how Mitch Richmond, when he was on the Lakers, he lived in Thousand Oaks, and said like the airplane left him like 5 times. Like Phil Jackson, we can't keep on waiting for this dude to get here. Like either you got to move closer, or we gonna start leaving you. Yeah, he said the airplane left. So Mitch Richmond had to find his way to road games a couple of times because the airplane left him quite a few times. So that's why he sold his house. So he had 2 houses. So he has a house in Brentwood, which is close to. They say it's like 5 minutes away from LeBron house, and then he sold a Thousand Oaks house, which that house was dope though.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. And again, like you said, it's very highly unlikely because I haven't seen. First of all, AD won a championship, and I don't see him leaving LeBron this year. That just wouldn't make no feasible sense to leave LeBron this year.
I mean. What's that last week? He said he's gonna ride with LeBron all the way, but until
Yeah, he didn't let a few things slip because he even said yesterday we're gonna run it back. Like he didn't let a few things slip to let us know that he's really coming.
Yeah, but you got to play your leverage because, like I said, depending on how the salary cap is set up, do you go for 2 years and see can you get more in 2 years, or do you say, well, I'm tend to be injury prone.
Let me get my max now.
Yeah, let me get my max now. But either way, and also you want to hold your bargaining chips because the Lakers gonna come to you for the roster. I saw somebody said Boogie. Look, I signed back, but can you bring my man back?
Yeah,
Boogie. He called Boogie last night.
Yeah,
because Boogie is gonna also get a ring with Boogie, one of his close friends. So. You always want to, have your leverage, but we all know Rich Paul, LeBron ain't letting him leave.
Yeah, but especially because it also made him a star. Like I've seen Anthony Davis in more national commercials than I ever seen him in as a Pelican. You know what I mean? And that's something you get. That's something that comes with being a Laker. Even Julius Randle had goddamn commercials when he was here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so.
And the fact that Nike had one of the reasons why he wanted to go to a bigger market because Nike had picked Giannis over him to have a signature shoe because Giannis' marketing ability was more international than AD's. Although they both was playing a small market, Giannis had a market in Europe, which AD did. Now when you're on the Lakers, you're international. So I'm sure that we're probably going to be hearing AD having a signature shoe and all that, soon.
Yeah. So all right. So now that we got, the main part, what do we think the roster is going to look like next year? Since you're talking about bringing Boogie back, like who do you think comes back? Who you think is not going to be here? Do you think we move anybody, or do you think we try to run it back with as many of these players as possible, or do you think somebody will try to go get their money now because they probably can as champs? Like, tell me, what do you see this roster shaping up to be looking like? And I know it's very early, but what do you see it shaping out to be this season?
Well, you test the market with some players because you do have expiring contracts. So Danny Green is an expiring contract. So. Indiana, who doesn't get free agents. If you think Victor Oladipo is because I think the Lakers need another wing player that could score, that could create his own shot.
Yeah, that was our only weakness. Yeah. Even though we had Deion Waiters and some reason he didn't play.
Yeah, but and so if you want to. Knowing Indiana is going to want somebody like Kuzma, a young player, right back, you could package that with a Danny Green expiring contract and something like that. I could see possibly something like that happening. Or, somebody else that's disgruntled, like a Zach LaVine, somebody who really not happy where they are. But I do believe if Kyle Kuzma go to another team, Kyle Kuzma will be I said 18 to 22 point player again.
I agree.
He averaged like 25 points when he got over 16 shots. In games where he got over 16 shots. So I know people like down on Kuz, but Kuz is playing a third option in his third year in a role that Chris Bosh and Kevin Love both said is hard to do. And that's been the third option on a LeBron James team. So if those vets who I think Kevin Love went from 26 points a game to 16 points a game,
Right.
So if you have vets like that who had a hard time adjusting in that role, but you imagine a 3rd-year player,
right,
who's still trying to find himself,
as a player, not even just
player.
Yeah,
he's going to struggle in that role. That's why somebody like Jared Dudley was so important to keep Kuz focused, because he could have easily lost his confidence in his head throughout the season. And so you could package something like that. You also got because the Lakers pretty much got everybody set to open up cap space for 2021. It's all type of deals you could do with expiring contracts. And since we don't, the only reason why I bring up Kuzma is because we're not going to have a lot of good lottery picks. That era is over.
Yeah.
We're going to be back to them 27, 28 picks. So with Kuzma being our best young prospect, along with possibly THT, but people will probably definitely want Kuzma more. I could see something like that for another wing player that wants to score. Most likely, I think Rob is going to stay packed. Running back, this time you're going to have people like Markieff for a full season. You'll have Avery Bradley back. You'll have guys who came. J.R. Smith will probably be gone. The reason why I say probably bring Boogie back and I'll let JaVale McGee go, because JaVale and Dwight is kind of redundant.
Right.
And Boogie tend to give us another look.
Yeah.
A different look.
A different, like you said, a different offensive look as well.
Yeah,
like
different.
Yeah.
And so, I could see something like that. Plus, Boogie's close with Rondo and AD. Like I said, I think about Boogie and Markieff. We're going to be fighting like a mug next year.
Just goons.
Just straight goons out there. So I can see them running it back with the same squad, but we'll probably be better because, like I said, we'll have those guys for a full season now.
So listen, tell me what you think it is, because I agree. I think they said we'll have them guys for a full season. Maybe you let somebody go like a Quinn Cook, right? And you bring in with the mid-level. I think we get the mid-level next year. Somebody like Jeremy Grant from Denver.
No,
somebody probably. Yeah, I was say he probably gonna get overpaid. Well, not overpaid. He's gonna get paid because of what he did in the past.
Overpaid because I think sometimes, man, you see teams like now. You remember like Sean Marion.
Yeah.
Like some systems just work, and then when Sean Marion got out that Phoenix Suns system, he really quite wasn't the same player.
Yeah.
So I think Jeremy Grant might be playing himself. But, the goal is to also get paid. So if somebody going like the New York Knicks,
yeah,
who going to give him a $50 million max contract or something?
And also, we do know, like somebody made the statement today on one of these talk shows. They said now you're going to get some of those good veterans that want to win a championship trying to get on this Laker team.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I be honest with you, I would like to see Melo.
Yeah,
I would like to see Melo. I think Melo's story. Him and LeBron always wanted to play together.
And he would be great to be that 3-point shooter, and he could still, as we saw with Portland, he can still give you some buckets, dog.
Yeah. He can still give you buckets. Plus, he's already a mentor to Kuzma. That's somebody Kuzma work out with. So he could kind of fit the Jerry Dudley role, because Jerry Dudley is on a 1-year deal. He might want to hang it up after this. So
yeah,
I would look at somebody like Melo. But definitely the goal for the Lakers would be somebody who could create their own shot. Never know. Right. Look, Dion Waiters only 28. So Dion Waiters in a full training camp with the team, he might have a chance to fully grasp whatever he was
missing. Yeah,
he was missing, and you bring a couple of these guys back, because people forget a lot of these guys came like in March.
Yeah,
J.R. Smith probably won't be back because, of course, Avery, he took Avery Bradley roster spot, but Avery Bradley will be back. And
I forgot we got Avery Bradley back. So this team is actually we're gonna be deep next year because one thing, and I brought this up. One thing that I've noticed, and I noticed this with the Lakers team with Kobe and Powell going into that second season after not even the first championship win, after that first finals loss to the Celtics. I've noticed this with the championship team when Shaq and Kobe. After you win that championship, a lot of your role players come back that next season with a different confidence and play much better during the season. They become much better players.
Better. You remember in 2000, you had Ron Harper, you had AC Green, you had dude. We just kind of like plug in holes around Shaq and Kobe. We had Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw was out the lead for a minute.
Yeah.
So it was a huge turnaround. From when Shaq first got there. And then when they came back the second year and did that 15-1 run, you had guys who now they were used to one another.
Yeah.
In 2008, we traded for Powell in February. We lose in the finals that June. Okay, now we bring Powell into a training camp.
Right.
But now Powell is used to being with Bynum and Odom and in 2009, they pretty much smashed the league, that playoff. So I think there's a chance that you might see the same thing. A lot of people think, of course, Golden State going to be back in the picture. You're still going to have Brooklyn. I think there's some leadership issues in Brooklyn. But as far as West, I think the biggest challenge is going to be Golden State. I don't know what the Clippers getting ready to do because they don't seem like they were. I thought they had a plan when they fired Doc Rivers. Apparently, they didn't.
Right.
So, I think probably the biggest threat again is probably going to be Denver because they're going to be young. They're still young, and they have played with one another for some years now. This is going to be like their third year. Third year with the same team. So definitely, I think next year the chemistry would probably be even better. That's why, I think the different look would probably be somebody like Boogie, because when AD go out, you don't lose post scoring.
Right.
I don't think Boogie is gonna come back and be Boogie, but he showed in Golden State in a bad knee. If you let him, he still give you 20 and 10.
Right.
Easily.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So looking up, it seems like we in good shape either way, right?
Oh, yeah.
It seems like we're in good shape if we just running back, and we in good shape. Like I know he's not in the comments, but he's actually hit me in the NBA Talk 24/7 chat. Daniel, shout out to Daniel Burnett. Daniel saying he said we need a reliable 3-point shooter and we need somebody who can create out the dribble. Those are two things that we need that will pretty much make us unstoppable. Like those, because this year we had a team that if we were hitting 3-pointers, we're unstoppable. Like that's what it's always said. If the Lakers can hit their 3-pointers, we're unstoppable.
That's what it comes down to. That and I'm trying to figure out how long LeBron gonna go at this level. I mean, I know I joke around and say LeBron is like a walking steroid, but dude,
yeah,
this dude shake off injuries like Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So and so the way how we set up, I look at it like this. You running back because more than likely the next season is going to be a short season.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really want to do major moves. I think that's the mistake we made in '99, where we traded Eddie Jones and Glenn Rice in a 50-game season.
Yeah,
and we didn't have the chemistry. And just to go back to make this point, because I explained this to somebody about Kuzma, about being a third option when you have two superstars is not easy. People forget Glenn Rice had an issue, big time, not getting the ball enough when he was with Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah,
he only had, he went from somebody that was averaging in the 20s to someone that was averaging 16 a game. And him and Phil, that's why if you notice, Glenn Rice wasn't on that 2001 team.
Nope. Nah, he was gone.
He was gone. So because he was not happy with his touches. So when you're playing with two superstars, I'm not just talking about two stars.
Yeah, two superstars.
Two superstars. There's a price you're going to pay with as far as your scoring.
Well, because I think most times on those Kobe Shaq teams and even the Kobe Powell team, the third highest scorer average wise was never more than like 12 or 13.
Yeah, it was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, it's like the third average after Kobe and Shaq, and after Powell and Kobe was only about 12 or 13. So that shows you how much.
I think what that year Bynum had a good year. Was 17 and 10? That's probably the best.
Yep, 17 to 10. Yep, as a third option.
That was probably the best third option we had. I mean, unless you go back to the 80s, were Worthy, but people don't realize Magic only averaged like 19 a game.
Yeah.
But Magic was like the first dude to beat you through other people, because although he had 19, he had 14 assists and 12 rebounds, and you look up, you trying to figure out how Kurt Rambis and AC Green got 20 points on your ass.
Yeah.
So Magic was beating you through other people.
Yeah, literally, like I'm talking about getting them shits right at the rim where it's too late. If Magic gets you the ball in your spot, it's too late. So you're right. And
1 year, AC Green started in the All-Star game over Karl Malone. Karl Malone was pissed. But yeah. So when I think the Lakers are in good shape. Look, you running back, and then you have in 2021. After that season, you come back. You got a 37-year-old LeBron, which, like I said, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out when it's going to catch up to him.
I'm going to say, because even his drop-off, like how Jordan drop-off, and it's funny, I went back and looked, like Jordan bad years, he was still averaging 23 and 4 or 23 and 5.
Yeah, so, and LeBron game has dropped off. Because people look at the stats. The dude is a walking triple-double. People forget. You remember when Magic came back with Cedric Sabalas? And
he was slow, but still getting them numbers.
Magic was still getting triple-doubles.
Yeah, yeah, because that's his game.
Even though he was like 6'9", 270.
Yeah, looking like a wreck ball. Somebody wreck ball daddy.
Magic was still getting triple-double. Some dudes are just built like that. No matter what. They walk on the court, they don't get a triple-double. So I'm thinking like LeBron at 37, I think at this level, he probably got another 2 years. His drop off, he probably still be like 22 points.
Yeah.
8 assists.
22, 8, and 6.
Yeah.
Like that's his drop off is 22, 8, and 6.
But now you'll have a spot for a whole different max player. And who knows who will be available at that time. Yep. And now you're starting to build the next, the
next phase of what the Lakers.
Next phase, which you start to build with AD, because that put AD at 29, and then you bring whoever in that
whoever AD wants at that point. It's gonna be like who the AD want to play with. And you know what? Before we get out of here, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how amazing and how stellar LeBron played in Game 5 and Game 6. I know we lost in Game 5, but listen, LeBron showed me something. You know what I'm saying? Like he really showed me something in Game 5 and Game 6, because I know in Game 5 he was trying to win that game. He was trying to close it out. I know people gonna say what they want to say about that pass out to Danny Green, but to me personally, that's the play you make. When you got Danny Green wide open at top of the key and 3 people collapse on you, that's the play you make.
That's what we paid Danny Green for.
Yeah, you get $17 million to hit that shot.
That shot.
It's not like he was like what you call a minimum player that he passed it to. You pass it to the third highest paid dude on the squad.
They get paid to make that shot. But I just want to make this point out to Laker fans, because I think this is probably going to be our last show, probably until the offseason stuff start. Look, man, I wasn't the biggest LeBron James fan, and a part of
me neither.
A huge part of that had to do with the Bronsexuals, which I still don't like them, and I do not accept them as Laker fans. To me, if you wasn't a Laker fan before LeBron got here, you are not a Laker fan. But I would say this: what got me to accept LeBron James was you had Magic recruiting LeBron James here, and you had Kobe recruiting. If Magic and Kobe are willing to accept you as a Laker, then who am I not to? And that's my position. I will always feel that Kobe Bryant is better Doesn't mean I don't think LeBron is great, but what I don't want a lot of Laker fans to do is not enjoy this moment, this championship, because you still caught up in this LeBron, Kobe type beef or whatever. Enjoy this. This is how we are the Lakers. This is how we built. It goes back from George Mikan to Jerry West to Elgin Baylor to Wilt Chamberlain to Kareem to Magic to Worthy to Shaq to Kobe to Powell and Kobe and now AD and LeBron. We are the Lakers and enjoy this. Don't let people got ignorant ass fans and then they say some ridiculous stuff. That should not let you not appreciate somebody. Kobe Bryant said this. He said, look, you don't have to recruit people to want to be a Laker. They should want to be a Laker. If y'all remember, LeBron only took one other meeting on free agency. And it was a telephone meeting with the 76ers.
Yep.
The dude wanted to be a Laker. So enjoy it. He's a Laker. He wanted to be a Laker. Our two greatest Lakers wanted him to be a Laker. Enjoy this. I see Laker fans miserable because they're like, oh, he's going to be better than Kobe. No, your opinion is your opinion. Nobody has to change your opinion.
Right.
You know, I will always I take Kobe over damn near everybody. That LeBron can win 8 championships. That ain't gonna change my mind. But you know what? I'm gonna be happy for every championship he wins as a Laker.
Period.
Period. Because I'm a Laker fan. I was a Laker fan before LeBron got here. I'm gonna be a Laker fan after LeBron leave, and that's just pretty much how it is. But I see in a lot of Laker fans, they don't really know how to cheer because like, oh, if he get one more, he's gonna be tired with Kobe. So what?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Speed last night, and the question was asked, like, what would LeBron have to do to pass Kobe for you? I said, well, I don't think LeBron will ever pass Kobe for me personally, only because of the losses in the finals and the way he lost in the finals. I said, but if he gets 6 and he continues to put up the numbers like he is, I will be okay with putting him in the conversation because he got one more championship than Kobe.
Look, I have a Mount Rushmore, and for years. My Mount Rushmore was Magic, Jordan, Kobe, and Larry Bird. That was my Mount Rushmore for years. Larry Bird got bumped by LeBron.
Yeah.
That now I know people like, what about big? I gotta put big men in a different category. I don't put big men in that category because it's hard to judge big men with guards.
Yeah.
And forwards, but now that's just my Mount Rushmore. It's no in particular order. I think the greatest players I ever seen, as far as wing players and forwards guards, is Jordan, Magic, Kobe, and LeBron.
Yeah,
and Larry Bird is like right there with Kevin Durant. Is right there.
Yeah,
I just said, Craig, that I put big man in a different category. I think you have to judge big men differently than you judge wing players because big men don't control when they can have the ball.
Yeah.
You know, so especially those big men. Now big men are a little different now because now big men coming down the court 7 feet. You got Bobo shooting threes like and he's like 7'9".
Right.
But it doesn't have to look. This is we are the Lakers. I just don't want fans to get so caught up. I never felt like oh, Kobe tied with Magic.
Yeah,
you know, and Magic is who I fell in basketball with. Magic that was the first it for me. So you know, LeBron James, he embraced the Laker culture. Magic and Kobe accepted him.
He brought us a championship.
Yeah, he brought us a championship. He said he was. He said, you know, he wanted that torch after Kobe. That's a huge torch. Not everybody. That's a huge torch to carry. I also respect him for getting us through the tough times. Can you imagine Brandon Ingram and Alonzo Ball trying to get this franchise through a Kobe death?
Yeah.
We would have been. You think we was a mess? Them kids would know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. As far as what will LeBron have to do to pass Kobe, for me, it's hard because the eras are so different.
Well, and they just got such a different style of play.
Yeah, and the eras are so different. Like I know people get mad because players are now joining each other. That's just this era.
Yeah. Kobe era was trying to play against the other dude.
Kobe era was a little different because I told somebody, okay, if the moment Shaq left, Kobe said, "Hey, let me team up with T-Mac and Jermaine O'Neal," he would have had more than 5 rings.
Yeah.
Or or if Shaq said, "Hey, you know what? This not working with D Wade. I won that ring. Let me go play with Tim Duncan." Like if players move like they do now, who knows how many Western Conference Finals somebody like when Kobe became a free agent, if he would have went to the Spurs. And teamed up with Tim Duncan. Like basically what I'm saying, if players of a certain era had the mentality of this era of players, the narrative would be different and people would have more championships. Because Michael Jordan could have easily said, "Hey, you know what? I'm tired of losing to Boston and Detroit. Let me go join Magic in LA."
It'll beat the brakes off of everybody.
For
years.
Like how many championships they would have won. So you have to kind of look at. I just look at like after 2010, there was a shift in the era.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it is. I don't think we're gonna see where players retire 20 years for one team.
I think that's over.
Yeah, I think that era is over because now players doesn't have that sense of loyalty anymore because they realize teams are not as loyal. Back then, like there's no reason why Patrick Ewing should have retired as a Seattle Sonic. Akeem Olajuwon retiring as a Toronto Raptor. I mean, look how Chicago did Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So players don't really, the Lakers are very unique of how they run an organization, of how they treat their players. Which I think I remember D Wade was saying him and LeBron was in the locker room when Jeannie Buss offered Kobe that big contract that everybody made a big deal about just out of appreciation. And D Wade said him and LeBron was like, "Look, that's how you treat your players who've contributed to your franchise." So a lot of people, and look where LeBron ended up at.
Yeah.
So a lot of people look at that. How do you treat your players that contribute to your franchise? Nobody have treated their players better than the Lakers.
Nobody.
After what Magic did, what Dr. Buss did, made Magic part owner, the first black owner in the league. It was a small percentage, but he gave him a percentage. So when you have a franchise that treat their players like that, there's going to always be some teams that's going to have more loyalty than some. But I think like kind of how we've seen it in the past, I just think it's going to be rare because these players are like, "Look, why should I be loyal to you when but look at kind of like OKC and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
We could go down a list where players was actually loyal to a franchise.
And then they got burnt by the franchise. And that's why I said I'm not against the new era because for so long we were used to the old era. I said, but when I start to see how certain players, like how they did Carmelo, how they did, you know what I mean? Like certain players who wanted to be loyal to a franchise and they still got rid of them when they felt like they was at the end of their career.
I mean, Allen Iverson.
Yeah. And he was Philly. So I said, now at this point, if they want to take things into their own hands, I can't be mad at that no more. And I'm no longer mad at that because I see the way the owners treat them. And now that they're taking that leverage and getting their power back, I'm with it. Hey, man, everybody who watched Worldwide Laker Talk, we appreciate it. Please share, like, and subscribe. Let all your Laker friends and all your Laker fans and your Laker family know that Worldwide Laker Talk is here. Laker talk for Laker fans, by Laker fans, about the thing Laker fans want to talk about. If y'all ever got any questions or anything y'all want us to talk about specifically, drop it in the Worldwide Laker Gang for Life group, and we'll have it on the next show. I think the next thing, like Quincy said, the next time you guys will see us, when we'll be getting ready for either the draft, which we ain't got no damn picks, or or when the off season start. Like
it's back to that era when we was drafting Sam Jacobson and shit. The 29th pick when the Lakers had getting Travis Knight.
Yep. so next time y'all see us probably is when free agency starts.
Hey, look, Jesse Buss, man. Hey,
he been doing his thing late in the draft.
Kuzma was a 27 pick, 28 pick.
THT gonna be a problem next year, bro. Y'all mark my words. THT gonna get more time next year, and he might be that guy you talking about, Quincy, that can create off the dribble.
Yeah. Hopefully the Lakers don't get in trouble because he was drinking like a mug last night and he's 19. I said he all in the camera illegal.
Fucking up.
19, drunk as hell.
Elizabeth asked for the regular season. Elizabeth, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're trying to start the regular season in December or January.
They said possibly February because they trying to avoid no fans.
Oh, okay, cool. And that makes sense.
Yeah, and what they even thinking about doing is having testing on the spot for fans. Like they got hit with so much. I forgot they said how much revenue the Lakers alone lost
without having fans.
Playoff tickets, like alone.
I know it's crazy.
It was like something insane. So what they trying to do, because you remember how much they make the revenue, that affects the salary cap.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna try to push the season
to February and get some of them
February so they can
get them immediate tests.
Yeah, so like on the spot, you throw it in your mouth like like the thermometer thing. They give you a screw back in the day with the little dots.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, you got COVID. I was gonna be mad because you ain't gonna be able to refund your ticket.
Yeah.
Turn around and find somebody outside. But they gotta they're trying to figure it out because they do not want to, because just think about it. This was 22 teams in a bubble. This wasn't this wasn't all 30 teams in the bubble.
Yeah. So they gotta have they want to be able to open up with all 30 teams next season.
Yeah. So
that makes sense. So possibly February. And Elizabeth, I want to give a shout out because you watch every show and you comment on every show. So props to you for that. Thank you. Yeah. So one more time, I got to give our shouts out, and I got to tell y'all, Worldwide Laker Gang for Life. If y'all like the show, let everybody know about the show. We'll be back for off-season special once it's time to start with free agency. We'll do a free agency special. That's the next time you'll see us with Worldwide Laker Talk, unless some big news happens between now and then. Shout out to my co-host Quincy, my man Brandon Red, who couldn't be with us today. Until next time, what we're gonna do, how we always do, I guess we're gonna leave you guys with a little bit of some Kobe Bryant love, because I feel like the Kobe Bryant magic helped us win this season. So we're gonna leave out on that note. Lakers for life.
It's about what, doing it big or going home. I'm focused on my plan, in my mind in the zone. I wanna be one of the greatest that ever made it, one of the best that did it, coming with it. Understand this is all I think about, all I ever wanna do, all I ever work for. So ain't no giving up, and us to the limit just to win it.